Man, this weather is shitty.
Terrible. Cold, raining, like for the last, 2 days?
Yeah, 2 days. And people in Virginia have no idea how to drive when it's raining. No. I feel like they just put on a blindfold and just get in the car and just go when it's raining. They're the worst, man.
People are like, on my way here, there was a big, huge semi-truck carrying, it must have been one of those power things, portable power things for construction
like
sites. Generator. And so it was taking up 2 lanes and it was going like 35 miles an hour and people were getting pissed and just like going right around it. And like, I'm surprised there was no accident.
I feel like that's the only thing that if there was a negative about, there's plenty of negatives about owning your own business, but if that was a major negative about someone who kind of works for themselves, is that we choose that type of time of day to run all our errands and shit.
Yeah.
When nobody is on the road except for the people who shouldn't be on the road.
Yeah.
Right? It's like got old people and people moving generators. And I was behind somebody who was moving a house a couple months ago.
Man.
Moving a house on the back of a truck. House.
Jeez.
Yeah. I was like,
that's crazy. Wendy was, we were on our way here. We had a coach come in from Oregon. She was awesome. Specialized in West Coast swing. Anyway, so I was just trying to make time because we had a bunch of traffic and I was raging. I was road raging. Wendy's like, you have a lot of anger when you're driving. I'm like, it's like when you got to get somewhere, everyone's in the way.
That's the secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
Coming through.
Welcome to another edition of Alpha Geek Podcast. We embrace our geekdom and respect everyone else's. If you don't mind, like and subscribe. And also on our other streaming services on Apple and Spotify. Please 5-star review. We would greatly appreciate it. We are your hosts. I am Antoine Britt with my sexy co-host, Taras Denisenko. What's going on? What's happening, man?
Well, we just got back from New York City this past weekend.
New York.
That's a great song.
Yeah, it's an awesome song.
Such a great song.
It just gets you hype every time you hear it.
Every time. And I was just showing, for our audience members, I was just showing Antoine a video that my buddy Todd sent me. So he got to New York before I did. He got to the hotel. They went to like a swanky little coffee shop, and it's New York City. You know what? You'll see everything there. So what were you thinking about posting that video up on Instagram?
On Instagram. I'm 100% putting it on the Instagram page.
Yeah. So go visit our Instagram page. You can see that.
Yes, you won't be sorry.
Yeah,
we might get kicked off of Instagram.
you gotta blur some of it out.
Yeah.
It is graphic in nature.
Worth it. 100% worth it.
You watched it twice, right?
Yeah, I did. I'm ashamed of myself, but it's like a train wreck.
Yeah,
you
right. Can't look away.
You gotta see it
and rewind it, and watch it again.
Man, on today's show, we were talking about quite a few things. We're going to do reviews, a bunch of stuff. I mean, it's like we're feasting right now on content. Bunch of trailers came out for all the projects coming up in the summer and the fall. We got House of the Dragon, that trailer. Are we going to review Roadhouse?
Yes.
Damsel. Invincible up to episode 7 of season 2, and X-Men up to episode 3 of X-Men 97. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Cool, good. Well, I want to just update everybody that I finally saw Last Airbender and worth the watch.
Oh yeah,
So that
awesome.
was really good.
They did a good job. I mean, Netflix is undefeated when it comes to these animations or anime or manga, whatever you want to call it, and adapting it to live action.
Yeah,
they're killing it right now. I can't wait to Dragon Ball.
Yes,
Dragon Ball is going to be the shit.
Yes. I can't believe how well of a job they did with Airbender. But starting with Roadhouse, that was on Amazon, right?
Amazon, yeah.
Amazon. So my initial thoughts on that were, I was excited about it, and I thought Connor. I was excited to see Connor do his first acting gig.
Were you excited to see that?
Yeah. So like my what I thought it was going to be and what it was is where I'm going to go with that. But how about you?
I thought it was entertaining enough.
Okay.
Like we talked about off air. If I'd had spent, $100 on me and my girl and going to the movies and buying food and all that, I would have been pissed. It was just, I feel like instead of, because I think officially it's a remake of the original.
Yeah.
It's almost like it was a parody.
Yes.
Of the original.
Yeah.
It was enough similarities that you can say, okay, well, I can see kind of where they're going with it, but it could have been its own totally separate movie. Nothing associated with Roadhouse, with the exception of the name.
Yep.
And no one would connect the dots.
Nope.
At all.
Yeah.
Connor, he was like a cartoon character. I just feel like he just walked around and just giggled the entire time. That was like 90% of his role in that movie was doing that.
Yeah. Do you think that was a stretch for him? Because did he just play himself or?
I feel like, I hope it wasn't a stretch for him because that was the worst acting I've ever seen in my life. But I can say that you can tell that he had acting coaches and dialect coaches and all that, because I noticed that his Irish accent didn't quite sound Irish.
Yeah.
It was almost like he was trying to be Irish, but sophisticated Irish, maybe. I don't know. But it was the way he enunciated some things and the way that the delivery on some of the things he said, it was almost like he was trying too hard. Yeah. And, he's a new actor, whatever, and, Jake Gyllenhaal obviously is a powerhouse in that movie. So,
do you think Conor McGregor made the movie less credible? Because Jake Gyllenhaal is a legit actor, and he looked like he trained for the movie, and the fight scenes looked great. And I wonder, because I was like looking at some Facebook posts and people commenting about it, and half the people loved it, half the people hated it. Yeah, like usual. But some people loved that Conor played the role that he did, because he was such a turd ball. He was like this horrible guy. Like you just wanted to hate him. Was that an intentional thing, and to like really make him a villain, or was it just bad acting and just?
Well, I think they wanted to play up to the fact that his reputation as an MMA fighter, kind of like the back, because that's what we see when we see the movie. Yeah. I feel like it would have been way more viable if it happened 3 years ago. Yeah. Yeah. When he was like at he wasn't even at the height of his popularity 3 years ago, but he was more popular and more relevant 3 years ago. Yeah. Or 4 years ago. So I feel like it would have made more sense if this movie came out earlier. But to answer your question, yes, I feel like if you would have had an actor who was more notable as the antagonist, then I feel like it would have been a better movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody else posted about Conor McGregor as a business person, that he successful in his liquor, successful in his clothing, successful as a fighter, and now he's like one of the highest paid actors that as a former fighter. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, damn, bro, get it.
You cannot argue with his business acumen. And I don't know who his team is, who's giving him advice, but I mean, like you said, the suit line, the whiskey, everything he touches kind of turns to Conor. So, yeah. It doesn't make him a great actor.
No. I did think though so my expectation was going to be pretty low. And so I think I went into it just assuming that it was going to be a crappy movie. And so I was actually pleasantly surprised, because there were also like some nods to the original. So when they pull into that town, he gets off the bus, there's that bookstore, and then right next to the bookstore was a restaurant that was what was the original bar's name? I just forgot. Deuce.
Was it a Double Deuce?
Double Deuce. Double Deuce. Yeah. So they had a little Double Deuce sign that was a restaurant. So there was like little things in there. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. And then when he did like the choke slam where he grabbed him by the throat, I was like, oh, is he gonna cut his larynx or whatever?
Yeah, that was cool. And I think the the throat rip out thing, that is like when we think about Roadhouse, that's the thing that everyone thinks about. And him doing like spin kicks and skin tight jeans, whatever. But I think not to spoil the movie too much, but the final fight scene in this movie, they did do something that I feel like was super cool. And I feel like it was their equivalent to the throat ripping in the first one. So it was sticks being inserted in bodies. I'm gonna leave it at that. And I thought that was cool, especially the way they kind of like the fight choreography and the way they kind of like staged it. It was cool. That part was cool. The fight stuff was cool.
Yeah. I think if you're a fan of Fast and Furious, you're going to love it.
Yes. 100%.
I mean, some of the like action stuff, like there's like it's held at the movie's filmed in the Keys, and there's like some boat stuff and some high speed chases going on. I was like, oh, this is, and Wendy was funny. She's like, that's so unrealistic. I'm like, I know it's entertainment, but it's supposed to be kind of over the top. But
we don't go to movies for realism.
Yeah,
we don't do that. I can say that Connor was jacked. Well, both of them. Jake Gyllenhaal was jacked too, but Connor was like yoked.
Yeah,
he was all the HGH over there. He started his own HGH company. That dude was like massive in that movie.
So crazy.
Yeah,
so
he was big.
There was a couple on my Instagram feed was photos of him when he was his different fight weights to where he is now.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know how a body can go through that severe of a transformation without enhancements. That's for sure.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And Connor is what? Maybe 35 now? 34, 35? Might be a couple years younger, but he's mid 30s or close to mid 30s, and like what we talked about a couple podcasts ago, the male body just doesn't do that as it gets older, you know. So you need a little help, which is whatever. He's acting. It's not like he's hitting anybody, which will make it a problem. But if you want to look good on screen, fuck it, go crazy.
Yeah.
Sly been doing it for decades.
Yeah. Yeah. Gyllenhaal also, his training, his trainer's coming out with a program now based off of that movie. I guess there must be a huge amount of like, people are impressed by his shape, and it was definitely not a natural way to get it because he was like working super hard. But I was like, man, maybe what, I gotta do that.
Taraz about to come in here none with tank tops on. Dude, but unlike Connor, he had like a leaner build. He was just like, he probably was like 2% body fat. That dude was like shredded. So I feel like that through good diet is more obtainable than what we saw out of Connor.
Yeah,
Connor was big. Like Jake was, ripped, but he wasn't. He didn't put on a substantial amount of weight.
Yeah.
So
man. I recommend it. Thumbs up for me.
Yes.
It's worth seeing it on Amazon.
Yeah, it's worth seeing on Amazon. And then the lead, the actress, she was from Suicide. She played Ratcatcher in Suicide Squad.
Yes.
I forget her name, but I feel like she's good in just about everything.
Yeah,
she's in. Damsel is another movie I had a chance to watch. Now, Taras hasn't seen it yet, so I'm gonna try to do this in a spoiler-free way. I suggest watching it. It's good. Okay. Millie Bobby Brown is kind of coming into her own as an actress, kind of starting to break away from the Stranger Things, and this is about this is her third lead film.
Okay. 2
of them on Amazon or Netflix, so whatever. But she does a great job. The movie is very fantasy. If you're into that, if you're into dragons and fantasy shit, Game of Thrones, stuff like that, you'll dig it.
Okay. She, Millie Bobby Brown as an actress, she's pretty good in that. Like when she played Enola Holmes, I didn't see 11.
Yeah.
And so she seems. So I'm curious to see what, as an actress on Damsel, did you see a different role for her? Like, did I see 11? Did you see her?
Yeah, same. I feel like she wasn't tight. She's not being typecast.
That's it. Yeah.
She's I I didn't like immediately start watching and say, "Oh man, this is the same. This is 11 from Stranger Things." I feel like she did a great job of and also casting. You know, the role that she was in, it was like the furthest away from what she plays in Stranger Things. So good casting. It was I suggest watch it again. Netflix, so you can go watch it, spend a couple hours, and you don't feel like you're out too much, even if you don't like it. So
yeah, I think that's on our watch list for tonight. That was because we keep coming across it. We're just like, by the time we get home, it's just a little late, but yeah, that's for sure on there.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Man, Netflix is like changing the game right now. We talked about how Netflix is the leader. I think we can all agree that they're the leader when it comes to streaming. But now they have this deal with, you know, the WWE in 2025, and they are going to have the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight on Netflix, and they're going to go into more live sports. I mean, dude,
they're taking over.
They are taking over. Like, there's no close second. There's no close second when it comes to streaming. I guess the second would be Hulu, maybe, but because there is the live TV aspect. But man, but even them, no way. Like, Netflix is crushing it.
Now the Hulu's going to be on Plus, I think, starting next month. Or the month after?
I thought they were already. I see the logo on the Disney Plus on the homepage.
Okay,
the
I don't know.
Logo is on there.
It is. It's on the actual. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's the last time I think I watched this past weekend. I was trying to finish up Bad Batch, which is a freaking great show.
Season 2, right?
Yeah, season 2. Yeah. I think because they're releasing each episode like weekly, so you can't just binge on it unless it's over. What I don't know. Well, anyway, I fell behind, but as of that last weekend, I didn't see Hulu on there just yet. So,
speaking of Disney, your man Peltz,
dude,
dude, he's now. So I think we can all agree that phases 4 and 5 or phase 5 has not been.
Nope,
it's been lackluster to say the least.
Yep.
Man, Peltz, he said that if it was up to him, Kevin Feige would have been fired. Years ago.
Yeah.
How you feel about that?
Peltz. I think Peltz. Two ways to think about him, because he sold off a bunch of stock, and so people are saying that Peltz is only in it for the money. And if you're a major stockholder, of course you're in it for the money, and you want to see growth in the company. And he sold off a bunch of stock because he had a certain amount, and so he wanted to get his dividends, but he's not putting his tail between his legs and running. So he's invested in not only a financial benefit, but also I think as a company, he's got a website, Bring the Magic Back. So he's from what I see, very, very far on the outside, he's in it for the benefit of the greater good of the company.
Okay.
So I think, getting rid of Feige, because Feige, like, I don't think he's they're too invested in their own personal visions. And I think Peltz sees the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And that's my standing on that. And plus, 2 huge investment firms are backing Peltz. Both of them are backing Peltz. Not both of them are backing Peltz as partner that he wants on the board. But this latest one is also recommending that they kick out 2 of them.
2 board members.
2 board members that are current board members, but none of them are saying anything about Iger. They're withholding saying anything about him. So that's an interesting thing. I'm like, I wonder what that's all about. I don't understand that one.
Yeah, I don't know what the play is there. I mean, to reformat the board and more of Peltz's vision would be, I feel like it will be beneficial for the bottom line.
Yeah,
for sure.
But since George Lucas came out backing Iger, is that a power move? Is that like, I'll scratch your back if you scratch my back thing? Or does he really back Iger? That's a weird one.
Man. So Lucas came out backing Iger. Does that mean that he's backing Iger and Kathleen Kennedy?
He just said Iger.
No mention of Kathleen Kennedy.
No mention of her.
And so since that has happened, has Iger kind of pulled back on his backing of Kathleen Kennedy? Because I feel like there's something happening right now with Disney and Star Wars.
Yes.
And I don't know if Kathleen Kennedy's position is as safe as she would have thought it was a year ago.
Yeah. I wonder And I totally agree with that. I wonder though if she is pushing Leslie Headland to kind of take some of the heat and some of the other people, because it's like with the whole acolyte thing, like Kathleen's backing away because she's getting a lot of hate.
Yeah.
A lot of hate. And now, but I still feel like she's still like a Sith Lord in the back and is now sending other people out there to kind of do her battle for her. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see what those meetings look like, because I think if George Lucas, which Star Wars is,
right,
if you're coming out and saying, okay, I'm gonna back Iger, I'm supporting Bob Iger, and at the same time Bob Iger's support of Kathleen Kennedy dwindles, and at the same time Kathleen Kennedy is pulling back on some of the things that she was trying to push, and almost throwing what's the director's name again? I'm sorry.
Leslie Headland?
Yes. Throwing her basically on the train tracks.
Yeah.
Something has to be said. Something had to be done to say, okay, you're fucking up. You're going too far now.
Yeah.
We need to start appreciating the fans' output a little bit more.
Yeah.
So,
and to continue on the Headland, like she was Weinstein's assistant. Like, what's his name? Henry Weinstein? Whatever. The guy that's in prison.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah. Like,
seriously.
Seriously.
I had no idea. Did y'all know that? I didn't know that.
So it's like,
shit.
What is happening at these highest levels that these people just, they don't care about the product, and they don't care about Star Wars. They don't care. Or Joy Behar. Have you heard about Joy Behar? And how she is, so obviously The View is owned by Disney. And
yeah.
And
I have heard this, yeah.
she came out saying, she's like, I don't really know anything about Star Wars. I don't follow it at all, but I believe that it is time for a woman to take over Star Wars. And it is time that George Lucas had his moment. Like, she literally said, I know nothing about it,
but
here's my opinion. And you wonder why people get pissed.
Yeah.
Like,
crazy. I think is that part of the reason, because Ryan Reynolds was booked to be on The View, and he decided he didn't want to go on The View.
And Jackman.
And Jackman, and also Jimmy Kimmel. They were supposed, actually, he did not go on the Jimmy Kimmel. They have a skit set up later on, closer to the release date of Deadpool, and it was supposed to be a joke in the skit that Jimmy Kimmel didn't like. So that's right. Ryan Reynolds was like, fuck it, we're not going to do it at all, and we won't be on the show to promote the movie.
Yep.
And totally removed that scene of Jimmy Kimmel, because Jimmy Kimmel was supposed to be in Deadpool and Wolverine.
That's right.
And totally removed the scene. It was like a 1 minute scene with Kimmel in it. Totally removed it from the third act.
Yep.
So, like, Ryan Reynolds, man, you gotta love that dude, man. Yeah. You guys just like, fuck it. We're gonna do it this way. Yep. This is my way. This is my movie. Y'all not gonna fuck my movie up.
Yeah.
And man, it's so cool, and it's refreshing to see like some people sticking to their guns. And granted, he's in a position to where he can do that financially in comparison to a lot of other actors, but still, man, it's cool to see him kind of like just ride for that movie, that property.
And these big actors are really, I think, realizing that their craft and what they love doing is in jeopardy. And so like Ryan Reynolds and Mark Wahlberg, and those are the only two I can think of right now, but Mark Wahlberg just got approved for like a $6 billion loan so he could build his own production studio in right outside of Vegas. And he's like, and so I can't remember who else he was partnered with, if it was Mel Gibson, but some of these guys are like coming out and being like, man, Hollywood is not healthy. They're too ancestral, and just it's just turned into just we're patting each other's backs, and we're no longer realizing that the fans and just the audience don't enjoy what they do anymore. I mean, if you look at the Golden Globes and all these award shows, I mean, it's getting less and less and less and more streaming stuff. And so like these big production companies, they no longer have the power that they once did. And so it's fascinating.
Yeah, wow. Let's see what kind of shit they turn out in that studio.
I want Where, which one? Mark Wahlberg's? Yeah.
No, I love Mark Wahlberg. I mean, he's put out some bangers that a lot of people forget about. I mean, The Big Head, Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain, that was so good.
That was a good movie, right? The Mickey Ward movie, I forgot the name of it. I mean, Entourage.
Yeah.
You know, that dude, I mean.
Dude knows how to entertain. I mean,
does.
that is, is he the most brilliant actor? I mean, he's Mark Wahlberg. It's like, and it's same thing like Ryan Reynolds. Like these guys I appreciate who they are and what they bring to the screen. And I enjoy watching it. I enjoy Transformers and I like Mark Wahlberg in Transformers.
Yeah. It's like you said, he knows how to entertain and he knows how to attach himself to projects that are going to allow him to do that. He's not a DiCaprio or Daniel Day-Lewis or a Bale, like some of these method actors that are just, you know, going to go and probably win a bunch of awards for being in these films because they put themselves at, like, they are the person they're playing. Yeah. You know, which is, you know, whatever, is method acting, but you know, like you said, he knows how to entertain. Yep. And you know, you gotta, like, that's what we want. Yep. You know, we go to the movies because we connect with whatever we're going to see, whatever property we're going to see, or we just love that actor. Oh, they're going to play in that part. I'm going to go see it. It was probably going to be shit. Fast and Furious. Yeah. I love Dominic Toretto, Vin Diesel. Like, I'm going to go see it no matter what. Yeah.
It's cool seeing these actors though, like the Wahlbergs and the Ryan Reynolds, who you need those actors who are those method actors, and you need those actors who also have that business mindset or the director's mindset or producer's mindset where they have this bigger vision and maybe where they sacrifice as far as like a Daniel Day-Lewis or Christian Bale who gets so into the character. Like that's where they need all their focus and energy to be. But then these other guys, you need those people who can see the bigger picture. It's interesting. I want to ask you something. George Lucas, do you think he's more disappointed, or if at all he's disappointed, do you think he's more disappointed with how Star Wars is going or where Indiana Jones went?
Oh, Indiana Jones, 100%. 100%. That movie went to, and it was just a bad movie. Yeah. It was a terrible movie. And even the one before that, the one with Shia LaBeouf, that wasn't great either. Yeah, I would yes. Indiana Jones for sure. Yeah.
Because I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about that point and like what hurts him more. But then when I heard them say that, I was like, but he's the one, because I guess they had a script before Crystal Skull came out. He had another script, which was supposed to be better, but they went for the other one. So I'm like curious, like why was that decision made? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if you heard about that, but it was,
I didn't hear about it, but I'm not surprised because, you know, these movies are here to generate money and to sell merch. That's all we want movies to do. We don't care, like Oscars, cool. That's all good. You know, Emmys, cool. I don't know that's for TV, but make money, man. Sell merch. And if you're not if we don't see a projection for this movie to do 500 million, 600 million, whatever the number is, and give us a profit, then we need to be able to sell merchandise. Yeah. Like, so I can see how.
Was there merchandise for Indiana Jones? I don't remember ever. Star Wars is like crazy. Like Star Wars is, dude, oh my God.
Yeah, the Indiana Jones merch, man, the hat, the leather jacket, the whip. Yeah, there was a bunch of merch for that. Okay. Not as much. I mean,
Star Wars is like, Star Wars is over the top. Like I was walking through Target aisle again and like the Legos, dude, those, they're so expensive. They're like $300-$400 for these things. And they're like 18 and over because the pieces there's like 5 million pieces. But they're getting more and more intense and more detail oriented. I was like, man, I want to get, because I used to love doing models. I'm like, I think I want to get into more of these, like building guitars, Legos. Anyway, but it's all Star Wars. It's all Star Wars and Marvel stuff.
Yeah. So I don't have the patience for that.
Oh no,
Legos, nah, but no.
What's your hobby then?
beating people up, fighting. No, I got into pops a little bit, comic books, cars, as we all know, and I got into pops.
Okay,
I don't know if it's the smartest hobby to get into. I have a good amount. I have about, I want to say 50 pops. Wow. Not a huge collection, but I got some really cool stuff. I got the new Roman Reigns pop. I got the new Cody pop. I got a bunch of Dragon Ball pops. I have a very limited Gold Hulk pop. So
I think what would be kind of a cool idea, and let us know in the comments if you'd be interested in this, is starting like a little side channel off of this main channel about our little collections that we have.
Okay.
Just to kind of do like,
cool.
Like, I mean, I have my guitars.
Yeah. I mean, we can do that like as an all shorts channel, really.
Yeah.
1 minute shorts about, whatever it's going to be majority this guy. he got 30,000 hobbies.
Yeah. I do have a lot of interest
in guitars. He builds computers. He builds guitar. I mean, a lot of.
Yeah. My, the computer thing, that was interesting. We had some feedback on in the comments about the when I interviewed Demetrio, who just won, by the way, when I was in New York City, it was the World Championships for Arthur Murray's, and Demetrio, who we did the interview with, he won hands down all the way across the board again.
Yeah.
What's so funny about this dude, and I don't know if in MMA when you were fighting, like what like these dudes talk about, it's just you just only talk about fighting, but it's funny, like here I'm talking to a world champion dancer and he wants to talk to me about Call of Duty and the processors that I'm getting and the GPUs, and it's just so funny to me. I'm like,
no, I get it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a mechanic, right? I mean, if you're a mechanic, you don't want to come home and work on your own car.
Yeah.
Right? You want to do other shit, but you're always going to be mechanically inclined. Mm-hmm. So you find other things that you can, fiddle with that's not a car, you know? So I get that. Yeah. 100%.
So we're fighters, like, let's say, like you guys are training or whatever. I mean, do you talk about like computer stuff, or you talk about like movies, or is it mostly just about like fighting and girls?
Yeah, no, it's honestly, and this is maybe just me and the group of guys that I train with. When we weren't, if it wasn't about the fight that we were in, we didn't even talk about fighting. It was more about the hobbies that we had, movies, because we need to find things that occupy our time and distract us from the fact that you got to go into a cage and try to beat the shit out of somebody in 4 weeks. But cars and comic books were always big. Fighters, when I was a fighter, we usually don't have a lot of money, so cars was lower down the totem pole. It was mostly like movies, comic books, anime, all that shit. Like fighters are very versatile when it comes to their interest outside of fighting. So
it's funny. It's just, I just wonder about that, because it's like when you meet somebody of like, I mean, you immediately make a decision on people. You're like, oh, like if they're a fighter, or if they're a dancer, or if they're like, a lot of people, like I introduce myself as a professional ballroom dancer. They're like, you? Like, but they've never seen me dance. So like, they just see the way I look. I got this beard. They just don't see it. And I'm like, well, what does a dancer look like? I don't even know. Like, what is it? Like, what was your vision?
I guess the vision is like, I know my vision of a ballroom dancer would be somebody with like the slick back hair, like skin tight clothes everywhere, like go into Walmart with like all the taco meat out, like chest or shirt button down to the belly button or unbuttoned to the belly button, and just kind of just, I don't know, like that's what I get. I guess like the stereotypical like Italian dancer kind of vibe, that's what I get.
Yeah,
but
it's funny.
I mean, it's funny because you have no one that looks like that in your studio.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're all like, I think there's a reason for that though, because we don't want to look, because learning to dance can be intimidating, and you come in, and so immediately if somebody's new to it, they want to identify like, oh, he looks like me or she looks like me. I can do this. It's fine. Right. But if we all looked like we're in leotards and whatever, like look like intense ballroom dancers all the time, people are like, this ain't for me. Yeah, it's like going to a gym. If you go to, one of those gyms that people just screaming and
It's like so the interest varies, and it also varies based on confidence as well. Like if you have somebody who's like super new to it and they walk in the door, you got to assume they're immediately going to be intimidated.
Yeah.
Like just like if someone walks into the gym for the first time. So, and then you have the people who like are super gun ho about it, and no matter who, they're going to go in there and try to crush it, no matter if they're terrible at it or they're great at it.
Yeah.
It's a couple modes of thinking. My friend Ashley came in
Yeah,
recently.
she came in, yeah.
And
she's in actually today.
She's gun ho about it, man. She sent me pictures yesterday. Like she after the first lesson, she bought shoes.
Yeah.
She's like ready to go.
Yeah.
So you might want to get her for Dancing with the Stars next year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amping up. My girl that I'm supposed to dance with, she actually did the marathon, the Shamrock Marathon, and got a stress fracture on her foot. So she's in a boot.
Man.
So we have to
Push back.
Yeah, push that back a little bit.
Is she a good dancer already?
Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
you got time.
she did great the first time. And I feel like we got robbed. Totally. It's the tough thing is that we started out being the first act, and then so that was like the standard at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you're the first, then as the show goes on, maybe they forget. But we're coming back for redemption this time.
Hell yeah.
I mean, but everyone coming in were former champions or former like runners up or champions. So everyone wants to win now. So, but
Yeah. This year they're doing like the champions versus champion thing.
You know who's not doing it? You.
I'm not doing it.
You're still holding out, huh?
Nah. Yeah. They're going to have to pay me. Nah.
Yeah. Well,
no. It's one of those things where like, man, that I wanted like last year.
Yeah.
I committed. I was here
Yeah, you were.
twice a week, at least once a week, every week for what? 6 months?
it was a good, it was a good amount of
6
time.
months. So, and I won. Right.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to do it, I want to be able to do it at that level. And I just, with what's on my slate, I feel like I wouldn't be able to do it at that level.
Yeah, you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
But Renee and I, I got a photo in the back ballroom. I think you might have saw that photo, but she's super athletic. She's super motivated. So I'm hoping that, and I'm only taking one. I'm not going to dance.
Oh, you're going to do multiple?
Yeah, I just can't. Like I'm not as busy as you are because you got a lot of. I think you should update our audience on your cookie thing. How's that all going?
Oh, yeah, okay.
But Renee's also super busy because her husband has his own company, GBRS Group, and they're going all over the place. Yeah, they're going all over the place. So I was trying to hook up with Cole. I was like, Cole, teach me some stuff.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so they were like all over the place. But it was interesting. She posted a video. I don't know if I should say it on. But anyway, she was at a range in a boot, shooting down range. And,
oh really?
And Cole was like, "There's nothing more attractive than seeing my wife in a boot shooting down range."
Yeah,
like,
oh,
that's
that
cool.
is cool. That is cool. I remember one time I ex-girlfriend took them to Academy, was it Blackwater, whatever it was at the time, and we went down range, and she was wearing heels.
Oh, jeez.
And because she didn't know what we were doing, I was like, we're going to go and do a thing. It was my dumb ass. I should have told her we were going to do something like kind of physical. So she had like high heels on, and she was like shooting this. What was she shooting? An M4 with heels on. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Wow.
That was cool.
Have you ever, and I know we're getting off topic, but like, have you ever been to Superior Pond in Lynn Haven? They got that indoor range.
Yeah.
They just let anybody can go in there, right?
Yep.
That was kind of similar to what you were just saying. There was these two guys, two girls, and the girls were wearing like half shirts and booty shorts and like high heels, and they're holding an AR, and they had no idea how to shoulder it. And Wendy's in there with me, and she's like, "We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here." I was like, no, it's fine. And then she shot it like sideways, and then the shell ejected and it hit her, and she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, dude, it's like stuff that you would.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that sounds like just an accident waiting to happen.
For sure.
Yeah. And there is like they're the Wild West over there. Dude.
Oh, dude, yeah.
As long as you don't, there's like no rapid fire. But other than that, you're good.
Whatever.
Man. Yeah, that place is awesome.
Yeah. So I know we wanted to talk about X-Men too, and I started. I wanted to watch the original before going back into it.
Right.
So
how far did you get on the original '90s series X?
I am on episode 3
of the first season.
Oh, yeah,
you got a long time.
Yeah, I got a long way to go. I was finishing up Last Airbender, so when I was in New York, all my off time, I was trying to finish up all these shows. And Airbender, I couldn't stop watching it. It was so good. And then I started watching X-Men, and I forgot how poetic Beast is.
Oh yeah.
So I wonder if, and maybe you can let us know a little bit, is Beast still like this sophisticated poetic guy?
He is. So Beast is they stuck to the original, like the majority of the original voice cast came back. With the exception of a couple of people, and so they kept it as, because the show picks up right after the '90s series ends. So yeah, it's the animation improved. So this is my review of it. We're 3 episodes in as of today. What's today? 27th of March.
8th.
20. Wow. 3 episodes in, and oh man. The one thing that I can't, so there's some good changes and some bad changes, and this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
Just my opinion. Don't come at me. Magneto's outfit.
Uh-oh.
Now everybody's loving Magneto. Like, he's a favorite.
Okay.
Across, comics.
Yeah.
He's a favorite.
Yeah.
They have this dude, and so he has I would call it burgundy, like a burgundy suit, a little bit dark, like plum. It's plum. Okay. And he has gloves that go all the way up to like his bicep.
Oh boy.
Like, dude, this looks, and his suit has the sleeves cut off, so you can see kind of like part of his chest, and he has a giant M from the top all the way going like to his legs, basically. It's kind of
is it drag show-ish?
It's very drag show-ish.
Oh boy.
Which is, whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, if that's how you want to design it, hey, when you got down to the final design and you said this is the one, great, okay, fine. But man, and people are loving it.
Yeah.
People are loving. No one's really talked about the suit. I think some people are afraid to talk about the suit because they're going to be viewed as whatever,
Yeah.
But fuck it. It's not, the show is great. Magneto, the way whoever's writing for Magneto is doing they knew they got the excitement right, because he has some dialogue in the second episode that's amazing. Like, he is flexing hard. Loving that part of it. Charles Xavier, he's not on it. They have a new voice actor for Charles Xavier. The show as a whole, because I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't seen it. So I'm not even going to talk about the 3rd episode, which was a Jean Grey, Madeline Pryor geared episode. And for you hardcore comic fans, you know who that is or who they are. But leading up to the first and second episode, leading up to the 3rd episode, they did a great job with dialogue. It's very, like, the old X-Men was very mature, even for kids, us as kids watching it. The subject matter was a lot more mature than the other content that was out there for kids. I feel like they are staying true to that. Mm-hmm. And the dialogue is great, man. There's like a love triangle between Magneto, Rogue, and Gambit. That's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's so I didn't know this, but Rogue's power set is when she touches you, she
Right,
takes your
absorbs.
powers, your knowledge, whatever.
Yeah.
Magneto's immune to it. He can touch her,
Wow.
which, of
That-
course makes for
good.
interesting, dynamic when it comes to romance. There's a couple of different ways of explaining it, but the most popular theory is that he can generate a very thin electromagnetic barrier around his body that allows him to be able to touch and feel without her powers coming into effect. So,
Interesting.
and when you have that with Magneto and you got punk ass Gambit sitting over here, every time you touch him, he passed the fuck out.
Yeah.
Then I can see how,
Yeah.
that could cause some riff.
To pick up on that, like going back into the originals, they it's funny. Rogue did touch Gambit to knock him out because he was like losing his mind or about something. Because oh god, who is the guy that Morph? Because Morph died.
Yeah,
like right away.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, pretty soon after. And they even play with that in the new series too.
Oh really?
Yeah, they play with that aspect of it. So
interesting.
Yeah, and that again, that's the third episode. Mr. Sinister is introduced in the third episode, and so in the original series, he kidnaps Morph, tortures him, and ends up killing him.
Yeah.
So and that oh no, Morph ends up coming back.
Oh,
but in the original, just ruined it for
no,
you.
I mean it's fine because it's like I watched it as I'm watching it, I remember it all. I just forgot that because I thought Morph was in the show the whole time, but supposedly he died, and that's why he lost his mind. Or Wolverine was losing his mind, and but it was just to go back on what you said about Rogue, about her powers. It was cool how they introduced all their power sets in a way that wasn't like so obvious that we're talking about our power sets now.
Yeah.
Here's how it goes,
Yeah.
and how Beast was using like. He was just so intellectual. So for being such for geared towards kids, I forgot how smart that show was.
Yeah.
And it was, and all the, I don't want to get into DEI stuff, but like it was, but it was like, when you talk about there's no women in animation or any of these shows, Storm and Rogue and
Jubilee.
Yeah.
And Jean Grey.
I mean, they're all in that show, and they're all these great characters, and we looked up to those characters.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the?
We did. We did. Like seriously, like when we, again, I guess it is inevitable. We were going to go on some DEI stuff, but when I was a kid, Storm was like that was the woman you wanted to either date or you wanted to be your sister or mom or something. You wanted to be associated with her. Because she just had like this statuesque type of power about her. She had confidence. She had grace. So when it comes down, like when they say that the male fandom is toxic, it's not because we don't have an appreciation for the female characters. It's because now we're in a position to where you're forcing the other characters that we do appreciate down our throats as female characters, i.e. female Magneto, female Wolverine. Like, don't do it. Don't do that. Just let the characters that we love and appreciate show through the way that, we're used to seeing them, and it's just it's so weird that we even have to have conversations about gender swapping.
Yeah. And if you look at those original characters too, like Storm, Rogue, Jean Grey, they're all normal women.
Yeah.
Whereas Cyclops is wearing this crazy mask. He only shoots things out of his eyeballs. Beast, he's this blue beastly kind of guy. Morph is just like this guy that has an idea what he is, and he's going through all these. So it's like, even if anything, back then they were making the male characters be less than. I don't know. And now that I think about it, I'm overthinking, and I'm like, well,
yeah.
So like,
now let me ask you a question, Taras.
Yeah.
What is your definition of a normal woman?
Storm, Jean Grey, Rogue.
I'm getting him in trouble today, y'all.
Rogue.
Rogue. Hell
Rogue.
yeah. Rogue.
I forgot about like Rogue. Ooh. Outside of my wife, Rogue.
Rogue. Yes. So
okay. So let me ask you this: of all the X-Men, and I don't know if the new one has any new. Well, you said it's all the same people.
All the same people. Yeah.
Who do you think is the most powerful then?
Oh, Storm. Omega level. I think she is the only Omega level mutant on the show so far. Professor X is not. Oh, Magneto. Yeah. But yeah, Storm for sure. Okay. Like they even addressed it in the first episode. She's fighting Sentinels and everything, and the Sentinels start to, as we know, Sentinels have sensors that can pick up mutant powers. All the Sentinels just start going off Omega level, mutant detected, and they show Storm walking through a desert, and as she steps, she turned in the ground under her to ice. Wow. It's such a cool, like, the visuals in this show are second to none. Wow. It's so good. And then Cyclops. Cyclops has been known to be like a whiny little bitch when it comes to, when you think about the front men of the other teams, i.e. Captain America, I guess Iron Man, you can throw him in there, and then X-Men, Cyclops has been viewed as like the crybaby.
Yeah.
Like, and while in this show he's still kind of that, they definitely give him an upgrade as far as what he's able to do with his power set. Okay. There's, in the first episode, there's the first fight scene is him using his optic blast in very cool ways. Like he'll like shoot it off the floor to force him to slide across the floor so he can hit this guy, and then he'll bounce it off of this, hit this guy, and like he does. It's very cool. And then later on in that same episode, the X-Jet is destroyed. And so everyone's falling out of the sky. Of course, Storm and Rogue can fly, so they catch a couple of guys. And then morphs into Archangel, and he catches a couple people, and it's just Cyclops falling. He's falling, and then he starts a dive, almost like Captain America style dive, and optic blast into the ground to slow his fall down. He lands like superhero landing in the middle of the desert. Wow. It's cool as shit.
Yeah.
Like, so they really actually do right by Cyclops in the show, but he's still kind of like a punk.
Yeah.
He's real whiny. But his power set is cool because, in the comic books, as a strategist, he's up there with like Captain America in the comic books.
Right.
So he is a legitimate leader. And they just, in the show, especially in the show in the 90s, it just made him look like a punk, man.
Totally. I forgot about the Omega level mutant. Because in my head, I thought, like, just as far as powers, Rogue would be the most powerful because she could take anything away from anybody.
Yeah, and you would, but she got to get close enough to touch him, too.
Yeah.
Just freeze her ass if you were, if you're Storm.
Storm, yeah.
Yeah, she, and again, not to ruin it for a lot of people, but something pretty substantial happens to Storm in the series. Ooh. In the first 3 episodes, which you got to see. But yeah, there's just on the X-Men alone, there's Iceman, Storm, and Professor X. There's 3 Omega level mutants just on the X-Men. So, it's a powerhouse team, especially if you got like the full team together.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna have Iceman in some capacity on the show. I hope they do, because he's cool. They introduced Sunspot, so that's cool. And there's a theory that Professor X comes back, so hope that happens. And Spider-Man is teased that Spider-Man is going to be somewhere in this. They have a couple arcs, like a multi-episode arc, and the theory is that Spider-Man is going to be in. So
I think I'm going to not bother rewatching all the old ones, and they're just going to start in the new ones.
Yeah, you can. I think if you watch the last season. But if you watch the last season, you rob yourself, or the last season of the old show, you kind of rob yourself of everything leading up to it. So, I would watch it. It's a good watch. The only thing I didn't like about the old show is that it took forever for shit to happen. Mm-hmm. Like what we saw in the first 3 episodes of this season, it would take an entire season for that storyline to build out in the old show. And maybe it's because it was for kids and they knew it would take kids a little bit longer to kind of absorb some of this stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, everything took forever to develop.
I think also the old shows, they were and this is just a theory, they weren't necessarily made to be like they are today, where it's a seamless story. These other shows were built for commercial breaks. I mean, because you could see that it's like 5-7 minutes of something, and then it's a weird transition to something else. And so that was kind of interesting to kind of go back and be like, oh, there's a commercial break. Oh.
Yeah.
And then the show ends up being like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's like a 20-minute show.
Yeah.
Oh. But so yeah, definitely a watch. Go watch X-Men 97 if you love animation. Also on the animation front, Invincible. We're in season 4, 5 of Invincible?
I don't know.
No, season 2. I'm tripping. Season 2 of Invincible. And this is the second half of the second season. So we should be coming up on the finale. I think it's only 8 episodes per season. Up to this point, like Invincible is my favorite animated show. Invincible is so good. It is so good, man. Like, because I know where the story goes, and to see it happen, animated almost like as the story goes, it's so good, man. So we're one of my favorite Viltrumites, Anissa, just was introduced, and she's like the female, like the powerhouse female on the team. So it's very cool. Mark Grayson, which is, the lead character in Invincible, he's kind of at this position where he has to choose to be a hero or to live a normal life. He's, just breaking up with his girlfriend. He's about to be kicked out of college type thing. And he has to make a decision whether he wants to live that life or he has to be a hero. Inevitably, he's going to have to be a hero because, again, we know how the story goes. And the Viltrumite invasion is imminent at this point. And so now it's about them preparing for that. Yeah. So it's really cool, man. I love that show. It's similar to X-Men. Is a lot of like adult subject matter. Even though in the show he's a kid, but he just deals with so much shit as a young kid that has the responsibility of being basically the strongest hero on Earth, but realizing that the strongest hero on Earth ain't shit. Yeah. So it's very cool. And
check that out. I haven't even started.
So good. Yeah. And so if you have been keeping up with the books, you know that basically every time he gets in a fight and gets basically almost killed, he gets a little bit stronger. Oh. Yeah, so as he heals like a better version of himself. So it's going to be cool to see these seasons. I hope they, continue going forward, or they give us at least 5 or 6 seasons of this.
Yeah, I got to say, I didn't know anything about the show.
Really?
I'm like, man. I don't even know how I missed that one.
This is good. And there's not a lot of shit on Amazon. Well, I'm sorry, I take that back. There's a lot of shit. I mean, you got Reacher and you got The Boys and you got, Gen V. So you have a lot of content on Amazon Prime. So I guess it's easy for you to get lost in the shuffle. And they do a terrible job of releasing these shows, like this show in particular. Like they did the first 4 episodes, and then it was like a 3 or 4 month layoff, and now they're just releasing the next 4 episodes. They actually touched on why it's taking them so long to release episodes in the episode I just watched, in episode 7. So Mark goes to a Comic-Con and he's talking to a writer of a comic book that he loves, but it's supposed to be Kevin Smith. And he talks about why animation takes so long, how to make up for great fight scenes, you have to sacrifice other parts of the show. It's actually really funny, and it's cool how they kind of like address it while like not addressing it. It's pretty cool, man. It's a good watch. Yeah. Watch Invincible. If you love animation, Invincible is a must see.
Yeah, I gotta check that out. Before we wrap up, I just something popped in my head about like how streaming services are promoting their services. When I was in New York City, I could see, and I took a photo of it and I posted it on Instagram, but I saw the Disney store, and above the Disney store was these massive LED screens like you see in like Times Square. It had X-Men 97 on there. And I was like, oh my God, how much money does that cost to advertise? Well, Disney, come to find out, that's another thing I wanted to share when I was in New York. Maybe we'll do it next episode. But Disney has advertisements all in the JFK terminals. Like I'm walking
Disney
through
does?
Disney, wow. Disney Plus. They got like mad money to be able to advertising in airports and taking up the entire, from when I went from check-in to my gate, I just saw nonstop Disney stuff. And just like in all these smallest places, I'm like these like along the walk, the moving sidewalk, you just see Disney Plus all the way to the side.
Well, I guess it's smart to concentrate marketing efforts to more dense cities, right? So it makes sense. Yep. You don't see that shit here. We got no Disney advertising.
We got no Disney, yeah. But the other thing about, maybe this had to do with it, the Empire State Building it's called From April to May, or I can't remember what they called it, but to celebrate May the 4th, Star Wars Day, they're projecting Star Wars on the Empire State Building.
What the original? The original. Which one? What was the first one? It wasn't New Hope. New Hope is.
New Hope, and then it was. Oh my God. Empire Strikes Back. And then
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
So the scene where Luke is flying through the Death Star to try to throw those torpedoes to blow up the Death Star, they were projecting that onto the Empire State Building, and Hayden Christensen was there on the roof or on the top floor of the Empire State Building, and he flipped the switch. It was so cool.
Oh, that is
so cool. So I didn't really hear about it until I got to New York City. I was like, oh my God. It was like, all of a sudden my Instagram feed and my MySpace, my Facebook page started blowing up, having all these things about on the Empire State Building. So I wanted to go see it, but I had to work. But that was super cool.
That's cool. May the 4th. Are we going to do anything for May the 4th?
We should.
We should definitely do May the 4th.
Yeah.
Man, some sort of when does the Acolyte come out? Is it? I think it's soon. Yeah. So hopefully that'll be done or close to done by the time the 4th hit, so we can maybe review that. And Taras is gonna dress up like, dude, you know who would look cool as Maul, Darth Maul.
Oh
yeah, it'll be like that's what he's gonna do, y'all. He's gonna.
I do have my. I do have a Star Wars costume. Maybe I'm not gonna say what it is. I'll just wear it.
Yeah, I gotta be that or like Mace Windu.
Mace Windu.
It's not a lot of people. Man, on the cookie front, Taras alluded to some cookie happenings. We are two things. So we are releasing a new product coming out late April, early May. It's gonna be a shortbread. It's called Bells and Whistles. Oh. Bells and Whistles cup. It is a cookie cup that fits in your cup holder, right? Approximately 10 to 12 of our delicious recipe shortbread cookies. It would be the best shortbread cookie you've ever had. So good. I'm so excited for it. So those will be hitting the market. You'll be able to find them area stores and of course through our website. And I don't even know if I should say this part though.
Okay. Say it.
Man. So I applied to Shark Tank.
Yes.
All right. I applied to Shark Tank and I have a meeting.
Ooh.
Have a meeting. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
A lot of people, the people that I have told on social media, they're like, you gotta wear the apron. Don't wear a shirt.
Yeah.
Just wear the apron. And shit, if you get me a deal, I'll go out there butt ass naked. I don't give a fuck. Seriously. Man.
Oh my God.
So I'll keep everybody posted on that. And keep your fingers crossed for me.
Yeah.
Good vibes. Good vibes.
Yeah. Cool.
So man, all right, closing up. How can they reach you? How can he reach Taras Denisenko?
Just that. Put my name on Instagram.
It can't be many out there.
Yeah, there is
none out there.
There is none. So Taras _Denisenko at Instagram. Yeah.
Yes, you can find me at IG, obviously, Antoine the Juggernaut on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. Follow the Alpha Geek Podcast on Instagram, please. And again, continue to like, subscribe, and if you're listening on another
Platform.
podcast platform, please 5-star reviews, y'all.
Yes.
Tell us you love us.
Yes.
On behalf of myself and Taras Denisenko, the one and only Taras Denisenko, appreciate you listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.